If you guys remember, a couple of weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, I made a video on unions in the gaming industry and how unions will specifically wait, and it's not just the gaming industry, it's many industries, but unions will specifically wait until the company of which they work for, supposedly anyway, are at their absolute lowest, and that is when they're going to strike. And it seems like the French video game union that apparently works for Ubisoft employees has now decided to try to call for a strike as the company is teetering on an absolute collapse due to their stock price just plummeting every single day.
Are you retarded?
Now, again, guys, I'm not surprised by any of this because, like I said at the beginning of the video, unions are going to wait until the company is at its most vulnerable before they strike, because a union is not a goodwill company, right? A union is specifically there as a business to try to profit off of the workers who are there and promise them services in exchange for money. That's all it's there for. So that's why they always tend to strike when they feel like the company is at its lowest and they have the best chance to try to garner more money or more benefits for the members, which will result in more money for the union. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So again, the headline reads, French video game union calls for Ubisoft employees to strike as company teeters on the brink after Star Wars Outlaws failure. A French video game union syndicate, I can't say that fuck. What the hell is this? Syndicat des Travailleurs? What the J video? Called for Ubisoft employees to strike as the company teeters on the brink following its huge failure with Star Wars Outlaws and delaying Assassin's Creed Shadows to February. The company called for Ubisoft employees to strike on October 15, 16, and 17 after the company demanded employees begin working in the company's offices for 3 days per week for all employees. The union also shared that it believes Ubisoft made this move given it knows that the consequence of its decision will be the loss of our colleagues' jobs, the disorganization of many game projects, and the drastic increase in psychosocial risk for those who remain. Now, I don't know what the actual background information is regarding Ubisoft. I gotta imagine, considering how woke Ubisoft is, they probably were one of those companies that was enabling people to work from home even well past the COVID restrictions got lifted because they didn't want to rustle any feathers or anything like that. But eventually what's going to happen is people are going to have to go back to work, man. That's just how it goes. People are going to have to go back to the office at some point in time. And some companies are taking longer than others to get their people to go back to the office because, again, they don't want to rustle any feathers. But Ubisoft seems like they are well behind in that notion. Furthermore, it noted that this decision is announced immediately after the failure of profit-sharing negotiations. Exactly like previous salary negotiations, management's proposals were unacceptable. The negotiations timetable was appalling, and management was deaf to the proposals of the various employee representatives. Given the union stated, to express our anger, we call all Ubisoft employees in France to a first strike on October 15, 16, and 17. So, I don't know if they're going to do this because, again, we are, a couple of weeks out from this. We're about 3 weeks out from a potential strike, and it couldn't have happened at a better time, right? Think about what's happening. Assassin's Creed Shadows get delayed, right? Because Star Wars Outlaws was a massive failure. All the shows in my comments were like, no, it's not. I bought it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. That's great. That's great. Congratulations to you. You spent full price on a Ubisoft game that's going to go on sale in a month, and you just happen to be one of the people who bought it early, but it doesn't matter, right? Just because you like it, just because you enjoy it, doesn't mean that financially it's a success. The game's a failure. They lost 30% net bookings. They had to lower their net bookings by 30% because this game underperformed that much. The game's a fucking failure, and it's unfortunate. It's going to have to be one of those games that might make its money back if it goes on sale over the next 2 years or so enough times. But ultimately, the game's a failure. That's why they push back Assassin's Creed Shadows. They can't take two massive failures in 1 year, right? They don't want to risk it. So they rather push the game back, say that they're working on improving it when they really just didn't want to release it in the same year as Star Wars Outlaws because they thought these games were going to be wins. They really did. They thought Star Wars Outlaws was going to be a massive success. They thought both these games were going to be big hits. And now that they're they're losing money on Star Wars Outlaws, they don't have answers for their investors that they sold lies to. And that's what this really comes down to. They have an investors call coming at the end of this month, and they're going to have to answer to these investors. And I don't know what the hell they're going to say. They got to make up something. Then let me go down here. The union then shared its demands from Ubisoft. First, it wants a formal agreement on remote work. You know, this whole thing about remote work, I have my opinions on it. Some people agree with me, some people don't. But ultimately, I just think it's fucking lazy. I really do. I think it's people who got very comfortable from working from home. And trust me, I understand. I work from home now too. But I spent the majority of my life working in a fucking office, slaving away for, you know, how many days? Like, I think 6 days a week and whatnot, 12 to 14-hour days. Like, I understand. I understand the travel and everything. I get it. But you got to fucking work, bro. If your company wants you to work, you got to work. And if you don't, go find something you can do under your own, you know, make something for yourself, like some people do, and you can work from home. But ultimately, if the company wants you to work, stop bitching about it and go to fucking work. And again, I know there's people that are going to disagree with me, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. But that's how I feel. I've always been like, listen, if you are working for a company and the company says they want you to go into the office to work, then you need to get your ass in the office to work. And if you don't want to do that, then find a company that'll give you remote work or make something of yourself in terms of maybe entrepreneurship, or maybe, you know, make your own business if you can afford it or you have enough savings, and give yourself that opportunity. But otherwise, I mean, at this point, all this bitching and demanding from a union to get remote work is ridiculous. First, it wants a formal agreement on remote work with a due process of real negotiation between management and unions, not an arbitrary decision taken several months in advance, one which guarantees that each person can freely choose its number of remote days and when they are in during the week, as well as being counted by the month and not by the week. Bro, so if I made up my own remote days, I would just work every day remotely. Why would you even give someone that level of power as a regular employee? That's fucking insane. Second, the union demands an immediate increase in all salaries to compensate for the drop in our living standards in recent... What? Wow. The restoration of the profit sharing at a 60% objective, the end of the gender pay gap, and a higher increase in low... Bro, what gender pay gap, man? Can we stop, bro? Can we stop? Are the women working as much? You know, I mean, like, if they're working as much in the same position, then yes, they deserve the same exact pay. Are they performing to the same level? Are they actually putting out the same level of work? This is like somebody who thinks that the female who's holding the stop sign in a construction yard deserves the same amount of money as the jacked dude using a jackhammer for, you know, 8 hours or whatever, how many hours a day. Like, they think that they are on the same level. It's like the people who think the WNBA deserve the same salary as the NBA, even though the WNBA is subsidized by the NBA. Without the NBA, there is no WNBA. It's so ridiculous, man. We need to stop this shit. Finally, it wants Ubisoft to listen to employees' opinions by the implementation of social dialogue worthy of the name. Management seems indeed to confuse monologue with dialogue. This call for strike comes the day after Ubisoft announced that it was delaying Assassin's Creed Shadows and significantly reduced its net bookings outlook for its second quarter by 30%, from 500 million to 350 and 370 million. So, like I mentioned earlier in the video, they are suffering. They are literally hemorrhaging. Like, this is not a joke. Ubisoft is actually on the brink of potentially going bankrupt. That's not a fucking joke. This company, a company who we have known for a long time, a company that has made some of my favorite games, you know, the Far Cry series, fucking love the Far Cry series. This company is on the brink of collapse, and all because not only are they financially retarded, not only have they made some terrible business decisions, but they're also in an echo chamber that is producing toxic positivity to the realm of they just can't have a conversation. They can't actually talk about what's going on, what's wrong. They're the ones who made Skull and Bones, and it's so bad. You guys really need to just sit down, figure out the problem, and just get to work. That's really what you need to do. Stop this pandering shit. Stop this virtue signaling stuff. Because look at this. Your virtue signal here, massive failure. What's going to happen here? I really don't know yet. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.